Hello everybody, I'm Terry Ryder, founder of hotspotting.com.au, and today I'm speaking to Scott Mitchell of Mitchell's Realty in Hervey Bay in Queensland. Now we're having this conversation against the background of unusual times where restrictions imposed by the coronavirus have changed the way real estate transactions can happen, for the short term at least. But while this extraordinary period in the life of Australians is creating upheaval, in real estate terms it's also a time of great opportunity. And that's what Scott and I are going to be discussing today. Now, Scott, we're living in strange times with all kinds of uncertainty. I think it's fair to say you've been pretty busy in recent weeks dealing with genuine buyers in your area.
Yeah, no, definitely. As we're all aware, it's unprecedented times, and there's been a lot of uncertainty and probably a lot of people's opinion making going on for the last month or so. But outside of that, we've been surprisingly busy. I suppose I didn't quite know what to really expect, but we've definitely been way busier than I had expected. And we've written 7 contracts for this month already. And today I've got 3 other properties that have been negotiated verbally and will be signed off this afternoon. So we're expecting to have at least 10 contracts written off for the month of April, which is normally one of our busiest months. March, April, May are traditionally the 3 busiest selling months of the year in Hervey Bay. So we're on track for that to happen, which is probably not what I was expecting at the start of May or April.
Now, Scott, you and I both know that the Fraser Coast and Hervey Bay is a little piece of paradise in Australia. But for those who don't know much about the area, tell us a little bit about the area in which you're sitting.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I coined the phrase, which has been widely adopted, as "How good is Hervey Bay?" When we moved to Hervey Bay, that was 14 years ago. We moved here from Cooma in the Snowy Mountains, of all places, where we ran a specialist fishing business. So we did move to Hervey Bay purely based on the recreational fishing opportunities in Hervey Bay. It has got one of the most diverse fisheries in Australia. We've got more fish diversity than the Great Barrier Reef, specifically within our Great Sandy Marine Park. So we've got Fraser Island on our doorstep, which is a fantastic buffer as well for our weather. It gives us a lot of shelter from the southeast prevailing trade winds. And we've got one of the most temperate subtropical climates. I think we are the most temperate subtropical climate in Australia, as backed up by the bomb. So you could do worse than live in Hervey Bay, Terry, I must say.
Yeah, so it's got this wonderful environment. In fact, you could say in some way it's unique because of Fraser Island, which not only provides that physical buffer, but it's a fantastic place to go and visit as well. But I think the key point is that you can access all that amazing lifestyle on a par with the sort of the Byron Bays of this world, but at a price that's incredibly affordable.
Yeah, definitely. Look, you can buy still brand new house and land packages in Hervey Bay from around 335,000 turnkey packages. So, and those homes are located within 10 minutes drive to our Esplanade or the beach and marina. So we're incredibly affordable and got so many other fantastic access. As far as our infrastructure goes, with our Stockland Shopping Centre now coming to the Bay 3 or 4 years back. We've got fantastic medical services. We have got a fabulous airport when they're able to use it again. And we had great connecting flights back to Sydney and Brisbane. So, yeah, we've got everything that you really need. You're not ever left wanting to leave Hervey Bay for anything in specific, really.
Yeah. In terms of the economy, we know obviously that tourism is important to an area like Hervey Bay, and that's taking a bit of a hit in the current circumstances. But the government figures show that the industry sector that's by far the biggest employer of people in Hervey Bay is actually healthcare and social assistance. Almost a quarter of jobs in Hervey Bay are in that sector, and that's a strength of the area in times such as we're in at the moment.
No, definitely. We've seen that change really since St Stephen's Hospital came to Hervey Bay. We've seen an increase, obviously, in specialist doctors, surgeons, specialty care, and they expanded our emergency centre on Hervey Bay Hospital as well. And those middle-aged professionals, I suppose, they're obviously highly paid positions, and they've brought younger families to the Bay, and they've purchased those dearer homes and obviously send their kids to schools, and that all helps our economy continue to grow.
Yeah, and that medical precinct, I mean, it's quite substantial. There's a public hospital, there's a substantial private hospital, there's actually a TAFE campus in that precinct as well. But I think it's an incredibly important facility to have in an area like Hervey Bay, because I imagine a certain percentage of your buyers are people who are looking for somewhere great, affordable, relaxing to retire. But having those medical facilities just makes it more of an attraction for people in that age group.
Yeah, definitely. And even inside of that is, if you were not flying, as we're not able to do so at the moment, they've continually upgraded the Bruce Highway. So you can now comfortably and easily drive from Hervey Bay into the Brisbane CBD in under 4 hours, and it's a comfortable drive. So we're very well connected if you needed to go outside of our area, but our internal infrastructure and key amenities are essentially all here, really, to live day to day for sure.
Yeah, I also noticed that based on the official government figures, that education and training is also one of the biggest employers in the Hervey Bay area. You've got a major TAFE campus, and also you've got a campus of Sunshine Coast University. So education is a big part of the economy as well.
Yeah, my word. And Sunshine Coast, taking that over about again 3 years ago, has significantly improved that facility, and has brought again great education opportunities to Hervey Bay, so that kids growing up in our area too don't really have that need to go outside of our area to continue their education. And we've got a number of fantastic both public and private schools going all the way through to year 12, as well as we've got the TAFE College, which is a fantastic amenity.
Yeah. Now, just turning to the market itself, you're telling me earlier that you get a very high proportion of your buyers coming from outside the area. Now, so tell us a little bit about that, and where do they typically come from to buy and live in Hervey Bay?
Yeah, no, definitely. The core logic statistics that I've had, they suggest that in excess of 70% of the transactions made in Hervey Bay real estate are from buyers purchasing outside of Hervey Bay. And then from that, the interesting figure I found was about 50% of those, though, are relocating to Hervey Bay, but from within Queensland. And we do see some trend areas that are really popular within Queensland. Probably the most common one is Toowoomba. And my observation has been that those are mostly country people coming off larger acreage properties over the years. They've used Hervey Bay as their holiday destination throughout life. And then they get to a point where they've sold the farm or the business, and then they retire to Hervey Bay. And they, in time, often end up reselling in Hervey Bay and going back to Toowoomba for health and family reasons in time as well. So it's definitely a major migration between Toowoomba and Hervey Bay would be the most consistent area I've seen. We get a lot of people there from Townsville, Rockhampton, Mackay, and more recently it's been the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast. And then there's about a 20% migration from interstate, more being probably New South Wales, followed by Victoria, and then the other states after that.
Do you get a component of your market, people who are sort of working in the resources sector, and they're earning pretty good money, they're buying in your area, a lovely lifestyle, and then they sort of drive in, drive out, or fly in, fly out?
Yeah, the resource sector particularly, I'm actually working for a couple of clients at the moment that are selling their properties because they've been moving with the resource sector, and that's always been a component to Hervey Bay. It's been an attractive area for those that work in the resource sector to fly in and fly out from, and we've always, Hervey Bay has been a part of most of those large mining programs. So it's another opportunity for those that wanted to work in that sector but live in Hervey Bay.
And I think that sector is actually one that's actually going through a period of strength at the moment, and one of my expectations as we come out of the virus crisis period and go into recovery, that we're going to see something of a resources boom, particularly feeding our biggest trading partner, China. I was interested to note that some of the regional centres in central Queensland, like Rockhampton, Mackay and the Whitsundays, have been reporting a big uplift in rental demand, and a lot of it's coming from people who work in the resources sector. So I would have an expectation that your market in Hervey Bay is going to get a similar sort of reaction, particularly as we move out of this period.
Yeah, definitely. And when, again, as far as flying in and flying out goes, we do have a fantastic airport here, and they can commute quite easily. Most of the major mining camps appear to support that. And I think that we will see a flow-on effect as well in our area, except for we have to be a better place to live than further north, I'd reckon.
That's right. You know, I mean, I love Hervey Bay. It's a place that I've visited many times over the years, and it's just it's got an extraordinary offering in terms of you know, the beaches, the bay, the fishing, Fraser Island, and the whale watching. Of course, it's got unique attractions that most other areas don't have.
It does, yeah. And look, that's the key reason we moved here, was that diversity in the fishing for me, and the waterways too. If you're into sailing, we do get a lot of yachties here in the bay. We've got a fantastic marina here, and the area down through our sandy straits between Urangan, Moon Point at the top of Fraser Island, down to Tin Can Bay, Rainbow Beach. It is like the Everglades. Like, it's just spectacular waterways, just beautiful. So yeah, again, we're lucky to be able to live here.
Yeah, and as we alluded to early in the broadcast, all of that's attainable at such affordable prices. I'm just looking at, there's a location report that you and I have jointly prepared, and it lists the main suburbs in the Hervey Bay region and their median prices, and most of the suburbs have got median house prices somewhere in the 300,000s, a few a little bit more expensive, and then you've got apartments even cheaper. So I mean, that's incredible level of affordability for quality real estate in a location that offers the lifestyle that you have there.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the reality is, unfortunately, or fortunately to some, we haven't really seen any significant capital gains in Hervey Bay generally since about 2005. So we've had some recent comments that, you know, people are concerned about, with the current pandemic situation, will we see a fall in our property prices or a significant drop? And my opinion is that I don't believe that will be the case. We did see a reasonable adjustment back in the GFC period from about 2009 to 2011, where we did see 10 to 30% across Hervey Bay in various areas, where we did see those value falls. And we haven't really fully recovered from that. We've seen much stronger transactions occurring, like much better volume of sales activity in the last 12 months. So going forward, I don't believe we'll see any significant adjustment in our price, because we haven't gone anywhere in more than 15 years as it is. And once this is over, I think we'll recover fairly quickly as well.
You know, I think one of the differences between the current period and that previous period you're talking about, I mean, back then there was a period of oversupply in the Hervey Bay market. It became actually renowned around the country as one of the most spectacular population growth areas in Australia. And as often happens, developers twigged to that, and they piled into the Hervey Bay market and built a lot of new product at that time, and that didn't help the market. But the current situation is that vacancies in Hervey Bay are very low. The latest figure I have is 1.7%, which is ultra low, and it really puts the market in a very strong position to get through this period and to come out the other side strongly.
Definitely. Our rental market here has been super tight now for a couple of years. We've consistently been under 2% and as low as 1% recently. So again, at the moment, for those looking to invest in the Hervey Bay, the fact that you can buy in at such a great affordable level, with really solid returns and strong demand, it's a great place to invest. If you're going to invest, now is unquestionably one of the best times to invest in our market.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at, again, referring to the report that were produced, you and I together, at the median rental yields of the various suburbs of Hervey Bay, and many of them are 5.5% to 6% typical yields on houses. That's pretty attractive when you can buy so affordably and get that sort of rental return in a market where vacancies are so low. It represents pretty strong investing.
Yeah, definitely. No, look, and that's really changed in the last probably 12 months, where we've seen the rental market really starting to tighten up. And we probably saw across the board an increase in rent values of around 10% last year. So it's a fantastic time for those in a position to invest into real estate to do so in Hervey Bay.
Yeah. Now, it strikes me that for an area that's coastal and has that sort of sort of baseline lifestyle, that your component of units is relatively small, but it nevertheless is an option for people, and even more affordable because the median prices in suburbs like Scarness, Serang and Torquay are sort of mid 200,000s for typical units in your market. That is very, very good buying.
It is, yeah. Our rental market's always been, the unit market has been one of our toughest markets to work with within sales. So it's always the slowest market to work within in the time we've been doing it since 2007. And we did have a period there when they completed those large unit developments back just prior to the GFC. A couple of those major projects did go into receivership. And it took quite a number of years for that developer stock to be cleared, but that was all cleared by about 2013. And we've seen reasonable resales now in those complexes and modest gains in some cases. And you can buy a brand new, very modern 2-bedroom unit for around 300,000 still today. And that's great value. And a lot of those are going to be on the Esplanade.
So what's the typical breakdown that you find with your business? Is it mostly home buyers, people moving to there, or do you get a good, healthy component of investors as well?
No, investor interest in the Bay has definitely been low now for a number of years. We're predominantly dealing with owner-occupiers, and the biggest portion of those are retirees. We're still dealing with, I would suggest, in excess of 60 to 70% retirees. Yeah,
I mean, and for obvious reasons, the lifestyle, the affordability, and also I imagine that the evolution of that medical precinct with the private hospital being added to the existing facility has been a big factor in attracting that particular demographic to Hervey Bay.
Yeah, definitely. Like the improved medical facilities just makes us more attractive to that demographic. But off the back of that, though, those more highly paid professionals that work within that sector, they've been great for our market as well. They do buy those higher priced homes, and they've generally got children, and that goes through the economy, through the schools and shopping as well.
Yeah, we're seeing on the Sunshine Coast, which is a market I'm very familiar with, where the development of a major medical precinct has brought a new demographic into the area. As you mentioned, higher paid medical professionals, and that's given a boost to the top end of the market. So it sounds like something similar has happened in Hervey Bay as well.
No, very similar. I'd say it's exactly in line with that, Terry, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that we look for at hotspotting when we're looking at areas that we think that people should be considering to buy in is what's going on with infrastructure, not just the existing infrastructure, but the spending on new infrastructure. And it's one of the things that stands out for us about Hervey Bay is there's so much currently happening and coming up. At the back of that location report I've referred to, there's lists of the projects and infrastructure, commercial developments, residential developments, and it runs to tables of information about current and upcoming developments that runs to 4 pages. So there's a lot happening and coming up in Hervey Bay, and that bodes well for the economy because it all means jobs are being created in the area.
Definitely. Particularly the residential developments in the last couple of years now in Hervey Bay, we've got some fantastic residential projects going ahead at the moment, and the values in those, like the Springs and also Ocean Blue Estate, particularly Huntingdale Woods, the average medium sale prices in those areas has been $450 to $550 and upwards from that point, but they start at sort of that $450 range, and those estates have been selling exceptionally well in that price range, with the demand being absorbed ahead of the lots being titled, actually. So it's been really positive to see that happening.
Okay. Now, I know just looking at the list of project transport infrastructure, there's this ongoing upgrade of the Bruce Highway, sort of Brisbane north to Hervey Bay, various sections. I'm assuming that means that the trip between the two places gets shorter, and in terms of travel time, and that all that helps make your area more attractive.
Definitely, and I think as they continue to improve the Bruce Highway, which is scheduled to have those continuing rolling improvements, that's just going to make us more attractive going forward as well, for sure.
Yeah, there's also seems to be an evolving thing in your general area, not directly in Hervey Bay, but in the general area, which no doubt will perhaps bring more people wanting to live in the area is sort of alternative energy. There's a major wind farm that's approved and planning to go ahead, and also a solar farm. So that's a new sort of element coming into the local economy.
Yeah, my word. And again, it's those infrastructure projects that, again, has been bringing that increased employment. And traditionally, we've had very high unemployment. So seeing these projects going ahead is a boost to our local economy and will improve that unemployment rate as well.
Yeah, in fact, we do note in the report that the unemployment rate currently is at the lowest level that it's been since 2012. So the kind of infrastructure we've been referring to, the medical precinct, the alternative energy and others, the residential developments, it's all creating economy, and that creates jobs, and that's helped to bring the unemployment rate down, and that's good for the local property market as well as for the local community.
Definitely, and I think that's going to continue. A lot of these projects now are only a third of the way into their stage development that has been approved, and some have suggested we've been short on some new housing to the tune of up to 1,000 properties a year. So these projects going forward will stimulate all of the building and subbies that go with that, and it'll be just, I think, an evolution in that industry. We'll see that continue to improve and improve our unemployment.
Yeah. Now, not too far away from where you're currently sitting is a town called Maryborough, and it tends to get quite a bit of sort of industrial business, some big contracts to do with big engineering contracts, for example. Do you find that there are a certain component of your market, people who have jobs in Maryborough but like the lifestyle of Hervey Bay and the closer they live there and have a short commute every day to work?
Yeah, definitely. I'm working for some clients at the moment that they work in Maryborough, they live in Maryborough, but they're selling in Maryborough to come to Hervey Bay, and they've done contracts subject to their sale. So we do see that between the two. It's only a half an hour at most commute between Hervey Bay and Maryborough, and yeah, it's got more industry there. They've got some major agricultural industries there as well. So there's definitely employment there, and people, they often prefer to live in Hervey Bay because of the beach and bay lifestyle, and it's only a half-hour commute on a good road.
The Mary Harbour development, it's listed in the reports, one that I personally don't know too much about. What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, I haven't actually delved into the finer details on that one either myself, but it's been pushed and progressed now for the last 3 to 5 years. And it would be great. Like, Maryborough was one of the most important ports in Queensland in previous days gone by. So it is a fabulous river, the Mary River, and being able to use it in that regard will only be good for the Maryborough community going forward.
Okay. So one of the things that's sort of happening or coming up is the thing they call the Hinkler regional deal. It's a $260 million deal which involves the federal government, the Fraser Coast Council and the Bundaberg Council, which isn't too far away. And it seems to be proposing a lot of benefits for Hervey Bay, including a master plan to evolve the CBD, expansion of the Fraser Coast campus of the University of Queensland, the Sports and Recreation Precinct, and also upgrades to Urangan Harbour. So there seems to be quite a lot in that particular government proposal that's going to bring some benefits as we go forward.
Yeah, definitely. And those key components to that deal have been on the board and had many people locally working to have them achieved now for many years, particularly through our Chamber of Commerce and our industry groups. Yeah. Even with the marina, it was only back in 2007 that the government had a backing project there at $800 million to redevelop the marina. And since that deal didn't go ahead, because we went into the GFC not long after that announcement, but they've worked towards getting the marina, which is state-based and state-owned at the moment, in a position where it could be sold off privately, and then those private funds could then be injected into the area to redevelop the marina. And I believe that that's ready to happen now. So going forward, I think we will see somebody seize that opportunity to develop our marina, and it'll become one of our major assets for the region.
Yeah. So in summary, the scenario that we're looking at is that improvements to local infrastructure, improvements to the local economy have seen unemployment come down. We've seen the vacancy rate come down to levels where now it's a very, very tight rental market. It seems to, and a lot of new infrastructure in the pipeline to add to what's already there. So it gives the impression that moving forward from this point, the local economy and the local property market as a consequence of that's very well placed for a prosperous future.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it was only in the last 12 months. I know a lot of the property analysts use the property clock, and we were in the recovery cycle on most of those clocks as of last year. And I think that this is obviously going to be a little bit of a setback for us, this current pandemic. But I think that we will recover quickly coming out of it, and we will be heading in that right direction. I think we've got too much positive industry and infrastructure going ahead for us not to continue to improve our local market conditions and lifestyle.
And we're now starting to have the conversation at the highest level in Australia about the recovery phase, relaxing the restrictions and getting back to some level of normal. Hopefully that will all normal as we used to know it will be in place by the time the upcoming whale watching season comes along, because that's huge for Hervey Bay.
It is, yeah. We have a very strong whale watching tourism industry here in the Bay. Normally the whales tend to start to arrive in reasonable numbers throughout July, and the season kicks in earnest usually by August, September and in October. We have some of the, if not the best, and whale watching conditions in the country, if not the world. So it's a special place. If anyone listening to us today hasn't come to Hervey Bay and gone up to view those whales, they should definitely put it on their bucket list, because it's a special place, and you'll have a truly special encounter with whales that appear to just want to interact with people. I guess they get used to us, and we've had some amazing encounters with the whales here over the years.
Yeah, I've done it a number of times whale watching out of Hervey Bay, and it's one of the great experiences. You can do it a number of times, and it's not something you get sick of, because they are incredible creatures, and when they interact with you as humans, it's unforgettable.
It is. Yeah, so places they truly interact with you, as you would have seen. Like there's not many places in the world that you get that engagement with them.
Yeah. So I imagine that people do come to Hervey Bay as tourists to go whale watching, and some of the other attractions, maybe go to Fraser Island. But having had a glimpse of the lifestyle, a certain proportion of it, I imagine, are captivated and decide to come and live there, or maybe plan to retire there.
Yeah, definitely. And we were no different. We started coming to Hervey Bay in the early 90s, fishing and staying at Kingfisher Bay after they opened Kingfisher Bay around 93, 94. And then my fishing tackle business at the time, we sponsored a fly fishing tournament here in Hervey Bay. And the more we came up and enjoyed Hervey Bay and Fraser Island, the more we fell in love with it. And that's what brought us here, unquestionably.
Yeah. So it's a great package, and personally, I'd recommend it to people as a lifestyle. But with the additional element of an incredible level of affordability, there's very few places, I think, in Australia where you can access a lifestyle as good as that, with the level of amenity and infrastructure that Hervey Bay offers at those sorts of prices. Most locations around the coast of Australia that offer that lifestyle come at double the price, and I think that's the key to the appeal of Hervey Bay, Scott.
Yeah, no, definitely, and even for those wanting to look at property in our current market at the moment, after watching this, hopefully, our agency is the only agency in the Bay that actually provides the 3D, the Matterport virtual tours. And if you haven't seen that Matterport tour, it is as good as going through a property on your computer, desktop or tablet, as you could get from walking through that property. So if anyone went to our website and looked at any property we're marketing, you can view those Matterport tours. And we also video market everything. And we've been doing FaceTime walkthroughs. So people that can't travel or may be concerned about traveling, you can still do property purchasing many other ways, as long as the agent and the agency evolve with what we're dealing with at the moment.
You must have seen the virus crisis coming, Scott, to set yourself up with that sort of technology, because it's just perfect for the current times that you're operating in.
It is, yeah. Look, we when we launched Mitchell's Realty just about 4 years ago, I've always been an early adopter and I like technology, and we just wanted to continue to bring tools to Hervey Bay that hadn't been presented by the agents in the Bay, and Matterport was really the last one. And you're combining Matterport tours with floor plans and video, and we'll meet on site and walk the buyer through the property on a FaceTime inspection. There's plenty of ways to work within the current environment that we need to deal with at present.
Okay. All right, Scott. Well, I think we've covered it pretty well. We've talked about the lifestyle of the area. We've talked about the infrastructure. We've talked about what's coming up in terms of new infrastructure and amenities, the economy, the strength of the local market in terms of vacancies and unemployment. It's a pretty good package. I'll give you the last word. What's the key message you'd like anyone interested in your area, perhaps as moving there to live, or even as an investor? What's the key message, the takeaway you'd like people to take out today?
Well, you look, just based on the facts, I always say if you stick to the facts, you'll never come unglued. We really haven't had those capital gains or growth since 2005, and I can't see our market declining from where we are today. We might see some of the sales trends slow back a bit, but I can't honestly see any fall in values across our area. So there's never been a better time to purchase. So if you're thinking of investing in the Bay with that tight rental market, the fact that you can buy new builds so reasonably from about 330, and those properties will return 380 to 400 quickly and easily, or you can buy closer to the beach, older homes in a similar price range, but they'll need work. But there's the opportunity to add value to those properties. And then, like any investor, you should be looking for a long-term hold. So we're still essentially at the bottom of a market cycle. This is the time to buy in, for sure.
Yeah, it's all about timing. And I think I've been saying to a lot of people that the future belongs to people who can see the opportunity in this period, an opportunity to buy well at a time when there aren't that many buyers in the market, to get a good deal in a great location like Hervey Bay. Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty in the Fraser Coast region of Queensland, thanks very much for your time today. Anybody who is interested in following up, please make contact with Scott or a member of his team at Mitchell's Realty in Hervey Bay in Queensland. I'm Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au. Thanks for watching and listening. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Terry. And the report you mentioned, I'm happy to make that available to any of our viewers. So they can shoot me an email, or I'll put it up on our Facebook page. And that report that we've collaborated in, we do quarterly as well. Anyone interested in those quarterly reports, happy to provide them as well. Just shoot us an email.
Yeah, and we've just, in the last week or so, done an update of that report. So all the information is right up to date. So good time to be getting a copy of that report. Thanks very much, Scott. Great talking to you. And thanks for reminding me of all the benefits and beauty of the area that you're living in and working in. Lucky you.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate your time.
Okay, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.